Come home now, but come alone, the plumber said while fixing a leak in my late wife's office. Come home now, but come alone. He didn't look up when he said it. Just kept tightening the pipe beneath my late wife's office sink, as if he hadn't just tilted my world off its axis. At first, I thought I misheard him. The house was quiet. Too quiet, the kind of silence that presses against your ears. My wife, Aisha, had been gone for 8 months. 8 long months of learning how to breathe in rooms that still carried her perfume. 8 months of pretending that the echo in the hallway didn't feel like her footsteps fading away. Her office had remained untouched. Until the leak. It started as a faint drip. Then another. A small, stubborn sound coming from beneath her desk, right where she used to sit late at night, reviewing documents, scribbling notes, sometimes laughing softly at emails I never understood. I almost ignored it, but something about water pooling on her polished wooden floor felt wrong. Disrespectful. So I called a plumber. His name was Samir, a calm, unassuming man in his early 30s. Clean uniform, soft-spoken, recommended by a neighbor. He arrived on time, removed his shoes at the door without being asked, and offered condolences when he saw the framed photograph of Aisha on the hallway table. That meant something to me. Grief makes you notice the smallest gestures. He worked quietly for nearly 20 minutes. The metallic clink of tools echoed in the stillness of her office. I stood by the doorway, arms crossed, watching water drip steadily into a small bucket he had placed beneath the pipe. "You don't have to stay," he said gently. "I'll call you when I'm done." I nodded but didn't move. Something about that room made me feel like a guard. Like if I stepped away, I'd be abandoning her again. Samir didn't press. He kept working, humming faintly under his breath. An old tune I couldn't quite place. The air smelled faintly of rust and damp wood. Outside, clouds were gathering, thick and gray. Then he paused, his hand stilled on the wrench, and without looking up, he said quietly, "Come home now, but come alone." I blinked. "I am home." He finally looked at me. There was something different in his eyes. Not fear, not urgency, something measured. "I mean," he corrected softly, tightening the pipe again, "if you leave later today. Come back alone." A strange chill slid down my spine. Why would I not be alone? I asked, attempting a laugh that didn't quite land. He shrugged lightly. "Just advice." Advice? From a plumber I'd met less than an hour ago. I told myself I was overthinking it. Grief has a way of turning harmless words into storms. Maybe he was just socially awkward. Maybe he meant nothing at all. But the room suddenly felt smaller. My gaze drifted to Aisha's desk. Everything was exactly as she left it. Her leather-bound planner, her favorite fountain pen, a small brass lamp she insisted gave warmer light. I had never opened her drawers. Not once. It felt like trespassing. Samir cleared his throat. "She worked from home?" he asked casually. "Yes. Long hours. Sometimes." He nodded thoughtfully, almost too thoughtfully. "She must have been very organized." "She was," I replied, pride mixing with the familiar ache in my chest. "She handled everything. Bills, investments, insurance. I just trusted her." The words slipped out before I realized how vulnerable they sounded. He glanced at me again. And for a fraction of a second, just a fraction, I thought I saw recognition flicker across his face. Not sympathy, recognition. "You trusted her completely?" he asked. The question felt heavier than it should have. "Of course," I said firmly. "Because I did." Aisha wasn't just my wife. She was my anchor. We had been married for 13 years. Through failed businesses, through my father's illness, through every storm life threw at us. She never wavered, never complained. She would sit beside me at night, fingers intertwined with mine, whispering, "We'll figure it out." We always do. And we always had. Until the morning she didn't wake up. Natural causes, the doctors said. Peaceful, quiet, just like that, my world split in two. Samir tightened the last bolt and turned on the tap. The leak stopped. Silence replaced the drip. "There," he said, "fixed." But he didn't stand up right away. Instead, he remained crouched there, staring at something under the sink. "What is it?" I asked. He hesitated. "Nothing," he said quickly, standing and wiping his hands on a cloth. "Just old plumbing." He avoided my eyes now. A subtle shift, small, almost invisible, but it was there. I walked into the room for the first time since he arrived. The air felt different, disturbed. I knelt slightly to glance beneath the sink. Everything looked normal, except There was a faint scratch mark near the back panel. Not fresh, not exactly old either. Just there. Did you move anything? I asked. No, he replied immediately. Too immediately. My pulse quickened. Sir, he said gently, almost kindly, when you leave the house today, make sure you come back alone. The same sentence, but this time, he met my eyes directly. And there was no awkwardness in him now. Only certainty. Why? I demanded. He held my gaze for a long moment. Then he did something that made my stomach drop. He looked toward Aisha's desk. Not at me, not at the door, at her desk. You deserve to know, he said quietly. The words landed like a weight in my chest. Know what? He didn't answer. Instead, he picked up his toolbox and walked toward the hallway. I followed him. At the door, he paused. If you trust her, he said softly, then trust that she left something for you. My throat tightened. What are you talking about? He opened the door. The sky outside had darkened completely now. The air smelled like incoming rain. Just come home alone, he repeated. And then he left. I stood there for several minutes after the door closed. Alone. The house felt different now. Charged. Unsettled. My mind raced through every possibility. Had Aisha hidden something? Documents? A message? A secret she never told me? Or was this man manipulating my grief? I walked back to her office slowly. The desk seemed to watch me. I sat in her chair for the first time since she died. My hands hovered over the top drawer. I hesitated. Trust her. Those were his words. I pulled the drawer open. Inside, everything looked normal at first glance. Files. Sticky notes. A small velvet pouch I'd never seen before. My heart pounded. I reached for the pouch. And just as my fingers brushed against it, my phone buzzed sharply in my pocket. Unknown number. I stared at the screen. Another message appeared. Did he tell you to come alone? My blood ran cold. I looked toward the front door. And for the first time since Aisha died, I felt like I wasn't alone in the house. To be continued. Title. Come home now, but come alone, the plumber said while fixing a leak in my late wife's office. Part 2. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The message glowed on my screen like it was alive. Did he tell you to come alone? I stared at the front door, half expecting the handle to turn. The house was silent. Too silent. Slowly, I typed back. Who is this? 3 dots appeared instantly. Opened the pouch. My chest tightened. Whoever this was, they knew. They knew about Samir. They knew about the office. They knew about the velvet pouch that, until seconds ago, even I hadn't known existed. I forced myself to breathe. This couldn't be random. I walked back to Aisha's desk, phone still in my hand. The velvet pouch sat in the drawer like it had been waiting patiently for this moment. It was deep maroon, soft to the touch, tied with a thin gold string. My throat burned. Aisha, I whispered, the name catching in my chest. I untied the string. Inside was a small silver key. Nothing else. No note. No explanation. Just a key. My phone buzzed again. You were never meant to find it alone. Alone. The word echoed in my head. Samir's voice replayed. Come home now, but come alone. Was this what he meant? I typed back again, slower this time. What is this key for? No response. Seconds stretched. The silence pressed against me until I felt lightheaded. Then, a soft knock. 3 slow taps. Not loud, not aggressive, deliberate. My pulse slammed against my ribs. I moved toward the hallway, each step heavy. The knock came again. Same rhythm. I stopped a few feet from the door. Who is it? I asked, my voice barely steady. It's me, Samir replied calmly from the other side. My stomach twisted. I hadn't heard his truck return. I hadn't heard footsteps. Nothing. Why are you back? I asked. Because you didn't come alone. My grip tightened around the key. I am alone. There was a pause. Then he said quietly, are you sure? A cold wave rolled through me. My eyes darted toward the staircase. Toward the kitchen. Toward the dark reflection in the hallway mirror. Was someone inside, or was he trying to make me doubt myself? I'm calling the police, I said, though I didn't move to do it. You can, he replied evenly. But they won't understand. Understand what? Another pause. Then, softer. She hired me 6 months before she passed. The world seemed to tilt. What? I whispered. To check something. Quietly. My breath caught in my throat. She thought someone had access to the house, he continued. Not breaking in, not forcing entry, just accessing. I felt my legs weaken. That's impossible, I said automatically. There were no signs. She didn't think so either. At first, My mind raced through memories. Small things, misplaced files, a drawer slightly ajar, a password she changed twice in 1 week. At the time, she blamed stress. I blamed long hours. She didn't tell me, I said. She didn't want to worry you. That sounded like her, too much like her. And the key? I asked, my voice trembling. The key isn't for something hidden, he said. It's for something locked. That made no sense. What does that even mean? He exhaled slowly. There's a safety deposit box. My heart skipped. She opened it 2 months before she died. I pressed my hand against the wall to steady myself. She told me if anything happened to her, and if you ever found the key, I should make sure you were ready. Ready for what? I demanded. His voice lowered. For the truth. The word felt heavier than anything he'd said before. I opened the door halfway. Samir stood there exactly as he had earlier. Calm, composed, toolbox still in hand, but now I saw it. Not guilt, not manipulation, burden. You're lying, I said weakly. I wish I was. Rain began to fall outside, soft at first. Why you? I asked. Why would she trust a plumber with something like this? A faint, sad smile touched his lips. I wasn't just fixing pipes. The air seemed to thin. She hired me through a private referral service, he explained. Background checks, discretion contracts. She wanted someone who could inspect the house without raising suspicion. Suspicion of who? His eyes met mine. You. The word hit harder than a shout. That's insane, I said immediately. I would never. I know, he interrupted gently. And she knew too. Then why? Because she didn't know who to trust anymore. My ears rang. You said she trusted me completely. She did, he replied softly. That's what made it so hard. The rain grew heavier. Water streaked down the glass behind him. What was she afraid of? I asked. She never told me everything, he admitted. But she believed someone close to her had been accessing her financial accounts. Small transfers, almost invisible. My mind flashed back to our conversations about investments. About new policies. About documents she insisted on handling alone. I never touched her accounts, I said. I believe you. Then who? He hesitated. And in that hesitation, I saw something shift. Something he wasn't saying. My phone buzzed again in my hand. Both of us looked down at it. Another message from the unknown number. Don't let him inside. My blood ran cold. Samir's expression didn't change. Who's texting you? He asked quietly. I don't know. May I see? I stepped back instead of forward. A tiny movement, but it changed everything. His jaw tightened, just slightly. Not anger, not fear, something else. Disappointment. You think it's me, he said. I don't know what to think. The truth trembled between us. My phone buzzed again. He wasn't the only one she hired. My vision blurred. What does that mean? I whispered to myself. Samir's eyes flickered. You should answer them, he said calmly. I swallowed hard and typed. Who are you? The response came immediately. The one who finished the inspection. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear the rain anymore. Samir took one step back from the doorway. If that's who I think it is, he said quietly, then you're not the only one who found something today. My mouth went dry. What did you find? I asked him. He looked at me steadily. The access point wasn't inside the house. A crack of thunder split the sky. It was inside her office. My pulse froze. I turned slowly. The desk, the sink, the scratch mark under the cabinet. My phone buzzed one last time. Look behind the panel. The same place Samir had paused earlier. The same place he claimed was just old plumbing. I felt like the walls were closing in. Samir didn't move toward me. Didn't force his way in. He simply said, very quietly, if you're going to open it, decide who you trust first. The rain poured harder. My heart pounded in my ears. And for the first time since Aisha died, I realized. The leak in her office hadn't been an accident. It had been a distraction. I stepped back into the house. My hand trembling. The door still half open. Samir standing in the rain. My phone glowing in my palm. And the hidden panel waiting beneath her sink. I had a key, a stranger at my door. And a message from someone who knew more than they should. I turned toward the office. And reached for the cabinet.